watch out. Number one, your fire's not counting size up. You have to do size up. Size up tells you what's occurring and how it's progressing. Okay? If you arrive on a medical call, dispatch calls and says, hey, there's a lady over here having an asthma attack. I'll say a guy. There's a guy over here having an asthma attack. You show up, see, you walk up and say, here you go, baby, there's a smell funeral. Breathe deep, I'll see you later. And out the door you go.
There's just in my mind.
Come to find out, he had a heart attack. Is that all you wrong with anything? Absolutely not. So how do you know what's going on with you? What do? You do your size up. Exactly. You assess the situation.
Like the EMR class,
You
Jim.
see what's
Size
happening.
up. Scene assessment.
You ask him questions. Find out what his symptoms really are. Then what is? Same thing on fires. You have to assess the situation. You have to do your size up.
Like I need to
See
dot
what's
mount too.
actually happening, how it's burning, how fast it's moving, what kind of fuels it's in. Check that weather. Know your lookouts and escape routes and safety zones and all these things need to be in. And then mark them. Communicate all of that. Do all the stuff before you ever start attacking anybody for your safety. Okay? Do your size up. Okay. Number two, country, or you're in a country that you have not seen the daylight. Everything looks different at night. You can get turned around so easy out there at night. I have gotten lost in my dozer at night because it was so smoky and so dark and I couldn't see anything. I got turned around. Wasn't hard to find me though.
Happens to the best of us.
But anyway, so be careful. Never go by yourself. In an incident, always go with a buddy. Take that buddy system with you. Never go to someplace by yourself, especially at night. Wait for someone else to show up. That way you got somebody to rely on. You know, you get out there, you get turned around at night, or get lost out there at night, fall asleep. At least you've got somebody who can push down in front of you and land on you. You know, to
Yeah.
soften your load, something like that. If it's super cold, y'all get lost, now you got somebody who snuggles up to you. So you don't freeze to death. Whatever.
If it came between me and you, I'd freeze to death.
Okay, safety comes with cameras not identified. That's not good. We have to know where they are. If they're not identified, we can't utilize them if we need to. Okay? So we have to utilize them. We have to know where they are and mark them. Let everybody know where they are. Unfamiliar with weather and little factors influencing that fire behavior. Again, check that weather. Plus, know the lay of the land out there. Know if there's valleys, if there's mountains, if there's outcroppings, if there's chimneys out there in those mountains, and how that fire is going to react when it reaches these different terrains, right? Fire moves really fast.
I can drink water
Good
today.
rule of thumb on hills is that for every 20 degrees or every 10 degrees that that smoke increases, the fire is going to double in speed going up that hill. Okay? So it's going to burn a lot slower, burning downhill. It's going to burn fairly in average going across flat land, unless we've got, whip of wind out there. But know how it's going to react on different terrains and stuff. And also know the different fuels, how they're going to burn the different fuels. But check that weather. Know the terrain. Know your area. When you do size up should start before any incident ever happens. Knowing your area. Knowing what kind of fuel's out there. Knowing what kind of fuel loading is out there. The different terrains, the roads, things like this. That's all part of size up. We'll get into that tomorrow night. Number 5, uninformed on strategies, tactics, and hazards. You don't know what we're doing, you can take this fire. You need to know what strategies we're using, what tactics we're using. If force is on scene and we're lighting backfires, and you come up there and start putting our backfires out, that is gonna make us mad. Please don't put our fires out that we're lighting. We're lighting those for a reason. We're fighting fire with fire. Don't put our fires out. You know you're not allowed to light backfires. You can do burnouts, but you can't do backfire. Only forces can do backfire. So don't put our fires out. Know what strategies we're using. Know what tactics we're using to contain these fires. Instructions and some is not clear. Again, ask them to repeat it back. No communication with crew members and supervisors. That's not good. If you need to hold for help, you can't do it. You don't have communication with anybody. If you fall in a well, last thing you're gonna be there to come secondary fires, especially when they're on fire and they come to a stop at the bottom of the hill. So we're about midpoint up that hill, we've got fire above us, but we've got pine cones or limbs or logs, whatever, rolling past us. When they come to a stop, and they're on fire, they're gonna start another fire. So now we've got fire below us and above us. So we're between two flaming fronts. We have no place to go. We just got burned up. I'm sorry, weather becoming hotter and drier, wind increases or changes direction, and getting frequent spot fires on your fire, that's all weather. Check that weather. Know what it's doing. The weather becoming hotter and drier, like I said, the higher the temperature, the more it's gonna heat things up, dry things out, make it ignite a lot faster. It's also gonna affect you guys. The wind direction, wind speed, that's gonna dictate which way that fire is going and how fast that fire is gonna be moving from that wind. Spot fires, if you check that weather, you know there's some good wind speed going, then you expect your spot fires to happen. A spot fire is a secondary fire, those embers rise with that warm air, the wind catches it, and blows it a long distance away, and it starts secondary fires when it lands in Preston, okay? The longest spot fire recorded in Arkansas is 7 miles. Think about that, that's a long way from Timberland, or to carry through there and then and start a secondary fire. Number 17, terrain is going to take some difficult. Again, your step right has to be your path of least resistance, right? No uphills, no loose rocks, loose soils, anything like that. Path of least resistance, your easiest route out of town. And then number 18, taking a nap on the fire line. Don't do that. If you're that tired, you need to lay down and take a nap.
Get you
Go
some
to a
caffeine.
safety area, go to a safety zone, don't do it on the fire line. And I'm sure Chuck and Les can vouch for me. If you guys are out there sleeping on a fire line and we're in that dozer, we can't see y'all. You guys can see and hear that big yellow dozer a lot better than that dozer operator can see and hear you. We've got cages around these dozers, we've got windows around these dozers, we've got, brush guards, or push guards, and roll bars, and exhaust systems, all that's in our line of sight, we cannot see y'all. I will push a tree over on top of you, if you're out there napping on the fire line. I will dislodge a rock, and push a rock over on top of you. I will drive right over the top of you, because I can see you out there. So get out of the way of these dozers, okay? And do not nap on the fire line. And obviously, somebody has done that, and that's why I did. Okay, common denominators of fire, fire behavior on tragedy fire. Common things that have injured or killed firefighters on grass fires or on any fire, the number one, grass, light fuels. Those grass fires, they're dangerous, okay? Don't get replacement on these grass fires. Even if it's just, this big around, make sure you got your PPE on before you ever go out there and start putting that fire out, okay? Always protect yourself, regardless. If you think you need it or not, trust me, you're gonna need it. Okay, number 2, relatively small fires are specifically quiet areas of larger fires. Number 3, when there's an unexpected shift in wind direction, or wind speed, what are you gonna do?
This is Nick 830 friendly, champ. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Nick 830 family friendly. Oh, make it up.
It's an eye-opener, okay? The very first, incident happened in Northern Oklahoma.
I'm gonna be excused. I'll be back.
But they're
I'm
talking
gonna go
about the
pee.
rate of spread and how fast the fire's moving in fuel model one. Fuel model one is short grass, okay, like 6 inches or less. It says it's moving at a rate of 400 chains an hour. One chain is 66 feet long. So 400 times 66, that's how many feet it's moving in an hour. It's like 5 miles, something like that, okay? But listen to everything, especially the Texas Forest Service will be talking, but then they're gonna get into the scenario. Pay attention to that scenario. That's what these guys do, what they're wearing, what they're not wearing, things like this. You know, what happens in the scenario.
Bro, that is mine's just touch screen. You see that? Bro, we should have that. Take me a nap. Bro, can you get off pool and watch the game?
Grass fires. As a wildland firefighter, should you think that these fires are as risk-prone as wildfires that burn in denser and more complex fuel types? Should you let yourself become more complacent on what you might perceive to be just another routine grass fire? As you are about to see, such a mindset is a mistake. That's why the following observation has been identified as one of the key common denominators of fire behavior on tragedy fires. Flare-ups generally occur in deceptively light fuels, such as grass and light brush. After reviewing the tactics that resulted in several serious firefighter burn injuries that happened on grass fires during a recent wildfire season, the Texas Forest Service developed the Attack from the Black training program.
A lot of people do underestimate fire activity, fire behavior in grass fields. Short grass fields, not so much, but a lot of our grasses in Texas, the Johnson grasses, some of the bunch grasses are very tall and can generate flame lengths up to 6 to 8 feet. That can reach out and touch them, and it has touched a lot of folks. Got too close. The intensity of those fires can cause serious burn to firefighters. So grass fires are never to be taken lightly. The other thing about grass fires is how quickly they can move, up to 8 miles per hour. A lot of folks can't run 8 miles per hour. And driving 8 miles per hour can be difficult if your egress is blocked. We've seen, think about it, we've seen wildlife that's been caught by grass fires and killed. A lot of deer, a lot of animals a lot faster than we are. So grass fires, it's a very serious danger to firefighters, especially when cure season, those winter months, and when you put wind behind it. It's nothing to be taken lightly. Grass is a common denominator in injuries. And I think the reason is because the fire environment can change so quickly in grass fields. 1 minute you'll be looking at a flame fire, the next minute you're looking at a head fire. Grass fires produce a lot of smoke. Visibility and keeping an eye on where the head, where the fire is going, a lot of times is very difficult to do with grass fires. grass fires move so quickly, there's always this sense of chaos, confusion that surrounds fast-moving grass fires. There's people moving everywhere. You throw an interface into that, you throw highways and traffic into that. It's a very confusing situation, very hard to sort out. So distractions abound, and firefighters may lose track of where that fire is, where they are in relation to the fire, and become trapped before they know it. Grass fires are very serious and very dangerous. We saw grass fires run through communities this year with that 30 to 40 mile an hour wind. That's not just the grass fire. Grass fires, I remember having this discussion with the Weather Service several years ago. They wouldn't put out red flag warnings because they didn't think we had damaging fires during the winter months. We only had damaging fires during the summer. Well, that's wrong. And we see the results of that this year. Grass fires can be very damaging. They're shorter term. They don't last, 2, 3, 4 days. But during that 9-hour, 10-hour period, they can be very destructive.
The attack from the Black program aims to cover the mindset of those firefighters who might feel that grass fires are not that critical. Because these fires often burn in short, light fuels, some firefighters may tend to encounter them with their guard down without taking adequate safety precautions.
If you're standing in fuel, then you are part of the fuel. That's what, I always tell our guys. Anytime we can fight a fire from inside the Black, when we're doing direct attack, then, our trucks stay inside the Black, our firemen drag the Black with them. You'll hear them say a lot, drag the Black, which I guess is kind of old school, but 10 years ago when we started wildland training, we're hearing some attack from the Black now instead of drag the Black. But that's pretty common, other than when we're doing an extended direct attack.
What do you mean when you say drag the Black with you?
Keep your foot, one part of your body in the Black. That's the biggest safety zone there. If you're standing in the Black, you're just 100 times more, 100 times less likely to get into trouble than if you're standing out in fuel, whether you're on foot or whether you're in a vehicle. This year, I've seen some fire apparatus that thought they were in safe locations and found out rather rapidly that they weren't. It's a misconceived notion that, I'm just a little ways out here. I can always turn and run right back into the Black. That wasn't the case this year when we had the extreme fire behavior. Just a matter of seconds or minutes was the maximum if you had a loose shift or the fire traveling away it did.
One of the most unsafe practices discovered during this review was the tactic of attacking grass fires from a position directly in front of the advancing flames, often while standing in unburned fuel.
One of the real simple things that we train on, that we just pound into firefighters' brains is LCES, and they get tired of me saying it. They get tired of the other officers in the department saying it. Lookouts, communications, escape routes, and safety zones. Every time we have a training session or every time we have a training meeting, if we have an after-action review, if we're doing a briefing prior to suppression tactics, we always mention LCES, and not to take away from the 10 standard fire orders or the 18 watch-out situations, but that's a lot of stuff for people to remember. There's 34 things that will save your life on a wildland fire. 4 of them encompass the other 28. The lookouts, communications, escape routes, safety zones, and it needs a P on the end of it for PPE.
Safety zones, areas where you can get into, you can put your engine into, and you'll be safe in the fire. The Black is always your best safety zone, an area that's already been burned out. The situation we ran into this year was that with a lot of our grass fires, cured grasses, we talked about building our safety zones. Maybe folks remember from the Man Gulch fire story, Wag Dodge put a match to the grass, burned out his own safety zone. That applies in Texas also. If you find open grass areas and for some reason find yourself in front of an advancing fire, you can burn out your safety zone in these light fuels. Grass burns very rapidly, and then you can walk into the black or drive your engine into the black and be safe. The safety zones are very important, and recognizing those safety zones, making sure everybody's aware of where they're at, and not only having the safety zone, but having an escape route to the safety zone. And as the day progresses, as time passes, you need to reevaluate where these safety zones are. Are they close enough? Are your escape routes still valid? If they're not, changing. Find a new escape routes, maybe find new safety zones. But as I said, the fire department is always changing. Things change over time. Locations change over time. So reevaluation, I put on my watch, I have an hour beep. Every time that thing beeps, I start asking if my plan is still valid. I look at where I'm at, safety zones, escape routes, tactics, weather. Is everything still in line? Everything still working? Put that hour beep on your watch. It helps. Again, we go back to, if you think about it, all the situations that put firefighters at risk can be mitigated by one simple tactic, and that is to fight fire from fire. We realize that that's not always possible, but 99% of the time, I think it is, especially with grass fires. You can get your engine into the black, you can get your hand grenades into the black, and fight fire from the black.
On March 1st, the Empire Fire breaks out west of rural Duncan, Oklahoma. A red flag warning for high winds and low relative humidity has been forecasted for this extreme fire weather day. The passage of a cold front is also predicted for later this afternoon. Fire behavior predictions for fuel model 1 for short grass indicate a spread rate of 400 chains per hour. Destry Horton, age 32, is a 7-year veteran full-time firefighter with the Chickasha, Oklahoma Fire Department. This husband and father of 2 also doubles as a volunteer firefighter with the nearby rural Acme Volunteer Fire Department. Even though today is Horton's day off with the Chickasha Fire Department, he opts to help fight the many grass fires that are igniting in and around the rural Acme Fire District. Around 4 p.m., after being staged at different locations all day, Horton and fellow Acme Fire Department volunteer Larry Crabb are dispatched to the Empire Fire. Horton, driving a 1995 one-ton brush rig, equipped with a 400-gallon water tank and Class 9 pump, with Crabb as passenger assistant, calls his wife to assure her that he will be home in time for supper. Just outside of Duncan, the 2 Acme Department volunteers encounter a group of firefighters. They ask them about the location of the staging area. They are told to just find some fire and fight it.
Don't ever do that.
Driving south, Horton and Crabb see a suppression grass rig engaged on the flank of a moving fire to their east. They turn off the paved road to access this fire area. Pushed by the strong predicted winds, the fire is moving rapidly to the east. The 2 Acme firefighters conduct a direct attack on its south flank, fighting fire from the black. Crabb is in the back of the vehicle, operating a nozzle from its rear bed. In driving the vehicle, Horton has removed his helmet, gloves, and jacket, while he is wearing his flame-retardant personal protective equipment bunker caps. He is not wearing firefighter boots. He has on his nylon hiking boots and a t-shirt. Crabb is wearing his full bunker firefighter gear, as well as fire boots, helmet, and Nomex hood. However, he is not wearing gloves. Neither Horton or Crabb have fire shelters. increasing smoke and heat, Horton drives from the black into the unburned fuels. With shifting winds and a sudden increase in heat from these now igniting grass fuels, plus poor visibility from the thick smoke, Horton puts the truck into reverse. He leans out the window and yells to Crab. "We need to get out of here!" In backing up, Horton inadvertently steers into a ditch, knocking Crab off into the barbed wire fencing. With wind whipped flames, heat, and smoke overrunning their position, the truck is stuck. With practically no visibility, Horton immediately jumps out of the truck to help Crab, now entangled in the barbed wire. In seconds, as the fire front burns into them, the flames and heat engulf Horton's face and upper torso. Crab sees Horton's t-shirt melt into the man's chest, and his boots dissolve into the firefighter's feet. After the flames pass over them, Crab frees himself from the barbed wire. With burns on his own hands, face, and lower back, he helps Horton away from the burning truck, leaves him at a large tree, and then runs for help. Firefighter Horton suffers severe burns over half his body, including his lungs. Crab receives second and third degree burns to his hands, face, and lower back. The doctors at the Oklahoma City Burn Center warned Destry Horton's wife that he probably won't survive that first night. 4 days later, the doctors removed the mummy-like bandages wrapped entirely around Horton from head to toe. They planned to scrape off his dead skin and tissue. Unfortunately, they quickly realized that the firefighter is burned so badly, he has no skin left. On March 24th, 24 days after he is overrun by the grass fire flames on the Empire Fire, Destry Horton passes away.
That was wild. Jim, no skin left in the bone.
When the two Acme firefighters decide to help suppression efforts on the Empire Fire, they certainly do not set out to be overrun by it. So, what went so terribly wrong? To truly learn from and respect their experience, we need to try to understand why their actions, the decisions that they made or didn't make attacking this fire, made sense to them at the time. With fires popping up on multiple fronts, they have been told to go find some fire and fight it. Next, for the first time during that long standby day, they see other firefighters beside a wall of flames moving through a roadside field. This grass fire is burning toward homes. On their own, they take immediate suppression actions. If you are in a similar situation, you need to remember to take the time to size up the fire and decide on a tactical plan before engaging with the fire. Your plan should always account for LCES. If possible, you need to brief on the fire through an incident command system. You need to establish adequate and reliable radio communications. In the wildland fire environment, you must always be wearing your personal protective equipment. There's no debate. This simple decision and action can save your life. Then, you must engage your fire using safe and effective operational tactics. As you operate, you should always address the standard firefighting orders and keep alert for watch out situations. The two Emerald Fire firefighters had no anchor point. If you are in a similar situation, your tactical plan must include establishing a reliable anchor point. Having no escape routes or safety zones also contributed to this fatal entrapment.
got no truck and going in across the barbed wire fence on the right of way.
Yes, sir, at that time, the fire was about 20 or 30 yards out. And it was in vegetation, and it wasn't going that bad. And I thought, well, get on top of it and get it there. And about the time that I got over the fence and took about 10 or 15 steps in and actually started spraying water, the wind picked up considerably. And boy, it brought that thing to life in a major way. And there wasn't anywhere to go, it was coming quick. And I briefly thought about trying to go back over that fence. No, if you get hung up in there, that's where you're gonna stay. So the only other decision I could do was just wet myself down, try to get through the fire and get into the black. And that's pretty well what I did. And just waited for help to come. And thankfully Richard turned around and came back. I feel bad because, it was kind of a rookie mistake. I had training, I knew better. But the old saying, complacency will get you every time, and it, been a long time since we had fire this size. And, I was more later arriving units, and I'm thinking, this thing's running away from us. When I went in to make my initial attack, it wasn't going that bad. It was coming to me, but it wasn't going that bad. And like I said, the tone goes off, you come up to the station, you grab your pants, your boots already in, grab your coat, grab your helmet, throw it in the truck and take off. And Richard told me where to go. I went there. There's fire, I gotta get to it. Got out, the truck started to come, went over the fence, I knew better, and started spraying. About that time, the wind really picked up, and it was coming to me faster than what I was comfortable with. And I looked behind me and I thought, I can't get back over that fence in time. So the only thing I could do was just hose myself down and try to make it through the fire and get into the black. And, if there's a message that I could send to anybody, guys, take the time, get your head straight, get your gear on. It might be hot, it might be a little heavy, it might be a little cumbersome, but if I had my gear, I wouldn't look like I do right now.